to another edition of Chop It Up with the Chairman. I'm Chairman Oz Nesbit, and we're going to just jump right into this segment this afternoon. We have one of our local soldiers and public service persons here in Rockdale County in the city of Conyers, working over at Phoenix Pass, servicing our community and the needs of our community. None other than Ms. Auvronette Guilbeaux. Absolutely. And welcome aboard. Welcome to Chop It Up with the Chairman.
All right. Thanks for having me here.
So let me just, looking at your background, your bio, your resume, and all of the work that you're doing over at Phoenix Pass, I really want to talk about what you're doing, why you're doing it. But before I do all that, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. So where are you from originally?
Originally, I am from a place called Huntsville, Alabama.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huntsville, Alabama. I think they're calling it now the new Silicon Valley of the South.
It's been named so many different things.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of technology in Huntsville.
Center, yes.
So do you still have family there? You still travel back and forth from time to time? Or
I don't travel there quite as much. My mom is here.
Okay.
And so, but I do still have family there.
Okay.
We were a lot of military.
Okay.
So I was raised, a lot of where I came from was going to be Aberdeen Proving Ground. We moved to Texas, and so we landed where my mom's hometown. That was Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, wow. Wow. Life has an opportunity to come full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So let me ask, the work that you're doing, I mean, you're really changing lives, you're impacting the lives of so many people. Before you tell me all about the work itself, tell me about your passion that drives you to do this work. Why? What is the why?
The why is just basic humanity. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy watching people to grow. I love the aspect of human nature. That's always been my passion. My education led me through that as human services, psychology. One of the greatest things to do is watch people become who they want to become.
Well, you have an opportunity here, and you've been with Phoenix Pass. And before I keep talking about Phoenix Pass, I'm going to yield again to you because I want you to tell everybody, who is Phoenix Pass and what is Phoenix Pass and what exactly do they provide? What service do they provide for Conyers and Rockdale County?
Okay, so Phoenix Pass is a wonderful organization. It's a small organization doing really, really big things. And so they are transitional housing for women and children who are experiencing homelessness. We've been around for about 13 years. I came to Phoenix Pass 6 months after they opened. And I came as a service project for my PhD program. And I started teaching classes to the women, and it was more like life skill classes and self-care classes, life development classes, and they asked me to stay on. And I started teaching those classes, and the women, we started bonding and just learning more about one another. And from there, I became their case management, and then I became a program coordinator, and then director, and then executive director.
Wow, you got a lot going on. You're wearing several different hats. So transitional housing for women and children.
Yes.
Let's talk about the transitional. That word has a lot within itself.
It does.
Talk to me, educate me. More importantly, educate our viewers.
So what's happening with that? And we're talking about terminology that's going to be from HUD. And so you're looking at a stay from anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to 2 years. We are a 2-year program. And within that 2 years, the women will get programming. That program is going to include, it's going to have case management. The case managers is where they learn how to set goals. And so they're going to learn SMART goals. They're going to learn how to prepare their family for success. They're also going to learn how to budget. They're going to learn financial literacy. Okay. We have classes the first and third Tuesdays of every month.
And are the classes a requirement?
They have to attend classes. They have to attend case management.
Very good.
The classes are from financial literacy to parenting, nutrition, household management.
I see the transition in everything that you're describing.
Yes.
That's when you call it transitional housing. You're basically preparing them and getting them ready. You're educating them. You're making sure they're exposed to how to take care and manage their personal finances. You know, there are people who are not in some of the situations as some of these young women and families are. Some people have what they believe some of the best setups in the world, and they still don't know how to manage personal finance.
Absolutely.
They still don't know the value or the essence, should I say, of budgeting. You're actually, this is a requirement for them to be enrolled, and it's a 2-year program they get to stay with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, let's go back to the beginning. Who is eligible for this program? Take a moment and break that down for us so there's an understanding. Somebody's watching this broadcast and listening to the information that you're giving, and they'll say, oh my God, I can't wait to give the number or the email address or the website so that I can call and find out. But I really want you to take a moment, slow it down, and tell us what, or perhaps who, what makes a person eligible, who's eligible for it, what are the requirements and the criteria?
Okay. So the eligibility is they have to be a woman. It could be an auntie, it could be an aunt, it could be a cousin, it could be a sibling. So long as they have custody of the child, and that's the key word. You have to have custody.
Okay.
Because of the McKinney-Vento Act, say, for instance, someone says, oh, that's my child. Then now we have, again, another family that's homeless, experiencing homelessness.
I see.
So you have to have custody of that child in order to become a part of that program.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to be 18 years older and up. You could be a 65-year-old grandma.
Okay.
As long as you have custody of that child.
I see. Well, there's a lot of grandparents who have custody of grandchildren. They've been stuck in many different situations, and it's enough for them at their age to try to be getting by at their age in life, let alone now they're in a situation they're having to take custody and care of a grandchild. Continue to tell us about this process.
Yes. And so the other part of that is they have to be drug-free. You can have had a drug history. So if you're coming from a drug rehab facility, then we can accept you because we're showing some type of proof that you've had some type of intervention.
What if she's coming from the street?
We drug test. We drug test to get in order for you to come into that program.
So let me make that very clear, Dr. Guilbeaux. Let me make that very clear. What I just heard you say, if they're coming from a facility where they've gone through some rehabilitation and they've had some counseling, what have you, that's a plus. If they're coming from the street, they will experience having to take a drug test.
It's a must.
I wanted to park the car there for a moment because I think it's important for people to understand. Again, people are watching and listening to this broadcast, and they're either thinking about someone personally or perhaps themselves that need the help. But there are some things that you've got to do to get yourself ready. I got to say this because in our Human Resources Office, the Department of Talent Management, as we host multiple different career fairs and job fairs all over the metropolitan area, oftentimes people come into our offices and they're going through the hiring process. And I don't know what they're thinking, but we're going to give you a drug test.
That's right.
And I think to not miss out on an opportunity for hire, if you have drugs in your system, you need to wait the period or amount of time to get those drugs out of your system. But then we go on to tell you this, we also do random drug testing too. Tell us about the criteria.
That's absolutely true. And that has happened in our program, and we will dismiss you because it is a no drug, no bullying policy.
Stop right there. What a situation to be in. Because when you say we will dismiss, you said that without any reservation or hesitation. I heard all the discipline in, we will dismiss you. Well, I immediately thought about the child or the children. Oh my goodness. Due to your poor decision and choices, now you put a child or children in a situation that you're going to be back out on the street or evicted, and you had an opportunity to really get yourself moving in a progressive way. Tell us more about your program. So
that is why we have a 77% success rate.
Wait a minute, 77 out of 100?
Yes.
That's a higher success rate.
It is.
You guys are doing a lot of things right over there.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So the reason why it's that way is because there's some people just not going to make it. We care about the family. We care about your family. We care about the success of the children. That's the only reason why you're even in the program is because of the child. And so, and you mentioned earlier the discipline piece of it. And so if you're not able to stay off the drugs, you're not going to keep a job because they're going to do random drug screens. And so everything that you have to save 30% of your income. So how are you able to save if you're not going to work?
Tell us about the saving of the 30% of your income. Why and what does that do?
Okay, the saving of the 30% income it puts you in a better position to succeed when you leave Phoenix Pass. You don't have to pay rent with us. You don't have to pay utilities with us. So that's all you have to do is save.
So do they save that money personally within their own savings account?
Their own savings account.
They don't give it to you all. Y'all not managing people's money?
Not in that way. We don't have access to their savings account.
Okay.
What we do have access is they come to our office. We pull it up real time so that there's no financial dishonesty.
Okay.
So we pull it up. They access their own account. We watch them access that account.
Okay.
We watch them pull it up, and then we're able to see their spending. We're not looking at their spending to say, gotcha. We're looking to see what are their issues. What are you spending your money on? We're looking to see what your habits are.
Fiscal responsibility,
Yes.
budgeting, management.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going too many times to Family Dollar? Because that can add up.
Okay.
Are you on food stamps? So why are you spending money over at Publix and Walmart? What are you purchasing? What are your vices? What's happening here?
Well,
is it guilt spending? What's happening?
You track the money, you'll track the personality of the individual.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And again, it's not to say gotcha, because we have interventions in place. We have financial resources that we're able to have someone walk alongside these people. And so to help them, even with the children, because some of our kids work at the local restaurants. And so we're able to walk alongside them and find out what's happening. We give you time to get that together. Whether it's a month, it just depends on what it is.
Right.
We had a lady who would go to Goodwill and spend probably $2 a week. She just had to go to Goodwill every week. We need to find out what's going on. We found some therapeutic interventions to find out what was happening. And there was some loss in her family. And we were able to see she ended up saving at the end of her stay probably $10,000.
Wow.
We had another lady who was addicted to scratch-offs. She saved $30,000 and was able to purchase a home.
Lottery scratch-offs. Wow.
She worked at a gas station. Never even played scratch-offs until she worked at the gas station. And every time somebody felt unlucky, they're like, I don't want that scratch-off. And she would end up getting that scratch-off.
And it became a habit. Wow.
Strange things happen, right?
Yes.
That's what our program does, though. It gives them enough stability to see, for the swelling to go down, to see where the issue started.
I like what you just said, for the swelling to go down. When I think about the word transitional, that word is a reference of change. It's a reference of change. Things are changing. We're going from one state to the next. We've got so many wonderful things to talk about. This is Chairman Nesbit. This is another edition of Chop It Up with the Chairman. We're going to go to break, but we'll be right back and talk about some more wonderful things that's happening over at Phoenix Pass. Stay tuned. You're watching Channel 23. So you were telling us a little bit about your own story and your own background and how you matriculated through school and made your way here to Atlanta, Georgia. Tell us a little bit about your career field and your focus in this area of social services and social work.
Okay, so how I ended up at Phoenix Pass was I was at Mercer University in my PhD program, and I was at the end of my PhD program, and I had to do my dissertation, and I had to work on a service project, and I ended up at Phoenix Pass working on that project.
Okay, and as I stated before, you're literally living out your dissertation through the work that you're doing, and we're so fortunate to have you here in Rockdale County. Did you ever imagine Rockdale County, Conyers, Georgia, many years ago? Did you know anything about this area?
I didn't know about this area. At the time, I was married, and we were looking for a really good education system for our daughter. And so we moved to Rockdale County after the research. We lived in Gwinnett County, and we looked at Decatur, and we looked at Rockdale. And surprisingly, Rockdale turned out to be a really good school system. And our daughter was in third grade, and we had a teacher who had taught in high school. She retired and came back. Our daughter was doing PowerPoint slides in third grade.
Well, big hats off to Rockdale County Public Schools. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's just great news to hear. And we're so fortunate, as I stated, to have you here in our community doing such wonderful work to impact and positively change the lives of so many women and families in our community. Keep up the good work. And we look forward to more wonderful things and phenomenal things coming out of Phoenix Pass. Welcome back to Chop It Up with the Chairman. I'm Chairman Chairman Oz Nesbit, here with our local soldier on the ground. We were talking about the word transition and the word change. We were talking about some of the program requirements that are required for a person to be eligible and to become, to really actively participate. You were talking about budgeting.
Yes.
And personal finances. What would you add to that in terms of one of those requirements that you all hold people feet to the fire or just simply require as they are enrolled in the program?
Well, it's personal character development. For instance, when we have class, you come to class as if you're going to a job.
Okay.
You don't come in roller sets. You don't come in your pajamas. You don't come dragging in. You come as if you're coming into a regular professional setting.
You got to take it serious.
You take it serious.
You can't wear the bonnet.
Yes, cannot wear a bonnet. You can't come in, looking mad.
Okay.
You can be disgruntled. You can be upset. As a matter of fact, we have one of our classes is called Speak Your Truth. Speak
Your Truth.
And we want you to talk about everything that you're not happy with in our program. I am one of those people that I want you to lean into what dissatisfies you. Because I'm so confident about that program, I know it's going to build you as a leader. I wouldn't be there otherwise.
The proof is in the pudding. You know that this program works.
I know it works.
Let's go back.
Okay.
I want to reel it back or scale it back a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about you and your own story.
All right.
Tell us and share with our viewing audience, why is this a passion for you? Why is this important to you as it relates to your own personal plight and story as a woman?
Okay. As a woman, I lived in Huntsville, Alabama, and I went to Alabama A&M University.
Yes.
I left that school, I was a junior, and I was thriving. And something traumatic happened, and I just left. Okay. I just left, and I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? It's a new beginning. It's all new. And I started working for an organization, a company called Sprint. And I'm like, I need to do something different. I need to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to volunteer. I used to volunteer when I was in Huntsville with youth. And I hooked up with United Way. And when I went with United Way, I said, I got a couple of choices, and they presented a lot of different options, actually. I chose homelessness, and I chose battered women. And I work with both of those organizations. But the one that stood out the most was homelessness. Okay, so I did that for about 2 years with Must Ministries. But then I met a guy.
Okay.
And I got married, and I was married for about 28 years. But that's what led me to homelessness. And I continued to volunteer in ministry, working with people who were displaced and experiencing homelessness. And then, like I said, I went to a PhD program, which I didn't complete, by the way. I finished my dissertation. So I'm what they call an ABD, Auburn dissertation. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up at Phoenix Pass doing that, but I've always been in service I was a Christian counselor for a very long time. So I've always been into the human services piece.
Let me just tell you, you do realize that you are living your dissertation out.
Oh, 100%.
You're living it out every day. I just thought I'd stop right there. Yeah. It's one thing to type it out and write it out and put it on paper, but you're actually, your faith in action. You're living out your dissertation right now. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell my daughter that all the time. I say, I am literally a walking dissertation. So, I'm not caught up in that, by the way, because my work is what's important to me. Watching people's lives transform right before my eyes and just kind of sitting back watching that is just an absolute joy.
When you think about your personal story,
yes,
you talked a little bit about that. When you think about your personal story, that you feel comfortable with sharing, what about your personal story that pushes you with this program that you're working with on a day-to-day basis?
Empowering people.
Okay.
Being able to, especially when it comes to women, I also believe in empowering men, because men need just as much as empowering. But when I look at the women, and when I look at how sometimes circumstances can stop people, I mean, they literally just stop in their tracks. And they think that's all they can become. This is all they're going to get. This is all they deserve. And it's a lie. And they listen to a different side of their brain. And I'm like, there's so much more. I choose joy. And I think that's a lot of times we don't know the choices that we have. And we have choices. Depression. There's a point that you can make a decision. And the decision is, I choose not to be. whatever that looks like. And so whenever we get to speak to these women, when we get to talk to them, and that's what I love about serving them, is because just to get before them and say, okay, let's hear what you're thinking. And when you can hear what they're thinking, because it's not that they're just totally lost, they just don't know how to pivot.
You are empowering women with hope.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And you're preaching hope, and you're demonstrating hope through the program.
There's a difference. I don't mean to interrupt you. Here's the difference. There's an anointing that comes with that. I'm not just giving that. I'm not just speaking it to them. Okay. There's a walking alongside people. That's why I love the 2 years.
Okay.
Because I'm not just preaching. I'm walking alongside and I'm living what I say.
The 2 years give you an opportunity to be present.
Yes, absolutely.
Really tangible in their lives.
Yes.
And feel what they're experiencing and what they're going through.
They get to see my mistakes.
Yes.
They get to see my challenges.
Okay.
I recently was awarded Woman of the Year. Okay. 20 years ago, that would have made all the difference. I would have thought I was all that in a bag of chips because my self-esteem needed that.
Okay.
I'm happy to have been awarded that because now other people get to see and I get to tell them what a journey, because I thought I needed that. But what needed to happen was that growth, all of that, the murkiness of getting to a place where I'm good with who I am.
And your level of appreciation now where you are in your life.
It's insane.
It's totally different than had it been 20 years ago.
Yes. And the platform is built off of something that's really substantial rather than something that's very loose.
You have clear purpose now.
Clear purpose.
Clear
yes.
purpose. And I think what I'm hearing is not just being present and empower them with hope, but becoming an intimate part of the lives of these women and these children that you're touching. But you're allowing your life to be an example for what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis.
The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And it all turns out to be just beautiful.
You know, when people are taking advice from folks, there are many people out there that want to give folks advice. But I believe that if you've not been in a vehicle accident, you can't tell me about the experience of being in a vehicle accident because you've never been in one. But if you're a person who's experienced something, as you stated, good, bad, or ugly, or not so good, however you want to describe it, now I can take you for what you're worth because you've been there, you've done it, you're living it. And then the beauty of it, and I want to talk about this word, is when you talked about being present, I could feel and see the passion in your eyes, I can hear the passion in your voice, but you allow these women to hold on to their dignity. Talk about how important it is, particularly for a woman, to hold on to her dignity.
Yeah, so
doing her plight.
So I can't allow them to do that. I hold space for them to do that. They have to walk into that. They have to be able to want it. And so I just leave that space available for them. I literally just can't. You have to let them. You don't have to. You just have to leave that space. That's all I can tell you. It is no it factor. There is no special person. Everybody has the same capacity to do and be. And when you say the word allow someone to do something, it's like for the longest I allowed people to tell me who to be. I allowed people to tell me how far I can go. I allowed them to tell me how good I
which means putting limits on people.
Putting limits.
So you're saying, let's create a space where you can blossom freely with liberty on your own.
Yeah, I just want to see how, I want to see what you do. You know, one of the things I did was, my daughter was my first experiment, by the way. You know, I wanted to see her wings be unclipped, which means that was a lot of just watching, wanting to jump in. You know, we want to save too many people. You know, let's just see how far they can go.
Right.
You know, we're going to be that safety net.
But give them some space.
Yeah, let them make some mistakes.
Right. When people become enablers.
Yes.
And
I'm a recovering enabler.
So we do have to allow folks an opportunity to stumble and fall, figure it out.
Figure it out.
Find a way. It's like the cousin that calls and say, hey, I need money for my rent. And I said, okay, well, here's your money for your rent, but what about the month of March? Because it's only 30 days away. What are you going to do in March? What have you planned to do? And that person says, well, you work in one job, maybe you need to go work another job. You have to do what you have to do. But you're saying give them that space, not become an enabler. So many people, I've had the opportunity in my career to talk to people in so many different walks of life, and particularly a lot of people who've been incarcerated. There's a lot of them from their youth, because someone always saved them. Someone no one never told them no. Someone always rescued them, and it created a false sense of what the world is, because the world is not like that. You know, I've said to my children, particularly my daughters, no matter how beautiful you are, you got to go pay Georgia Power, or you won't be able to see your reflection in the mirror, because you won't have any lights. You're going to be in the dark. The reality of it is, you can't just call Daddy and say, Daddy, and blink your eyes and give me that smile that I got to pay my light bill. No, you got to get another job, but you got to stop doing whatever it is you're doing and not being responsible. I like what you said about not being an enabler, but you also took ownership. You said, hey, you are a recovering enabler. Yes. Talk a little bit more about, people are watching our broadcast right now, and there are multiple thoughts running through their head right now, through their minds right now. I want to back away a little bit. I want you to talk to that person who's going through, that person who may be needing to give you a call or come to your office. In the interim, what will you say to that person? Speak to that woman, if you would.
Okay, so I would first say that the most important thing, one of the things that we run into a lot, is we have a lot of family members that come in wanting to save that other person. And the first thing I'll tell them is, you can't save another person. They have to come in. So a lot of times they'll get upset when I'll say, well, have that person to come in, because that's who we need to talk to. Because I want to know I need to hear them say what they need. I need them to be able to say, I need this. They may not be able to articulate it that way, but I need to hear them advocate for themselves, because that's when I know that they're ready. Even when I mentor young girls, and I need to hear them speak for themselves, because that's when there's an opening. That's when I know that they're ready to receive even if it's a small, slight something. And so when you're able to say, I need help, I'm not sure what I need, just something, then we can go in and start the work. And the work is being able to get you to a place of, well, let's meet. Let's have a conversation. It is not formal. It is not telling you who you are. I'm not a parking lot prophetess. I'm not going to tell you things that's not true or what I perceive. I don't know until we have a conversation. That is the beginning of even coming into Phoenix Pass. Let's have a conversation. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. Let's find out the type of things, the type of services that you might require. There may be something. I'm not going to tell you need a counselor. That may not be what you need. I want to know more about who you are. I want to know more about what you desire out of life, what your soul requires. Because I do a lot of soul work when I'm dealing with people. I want to know how serious you are, because that's what it was requiring for me. I did a lot of soul work. I did a lot of the ugly work. People will tell you in a minute, well, I love helping people. I always get taken advantage of. I don't want to know the good stuff. I want to know the pure, ugly stuff. I want to know what got you to the point you're at. I want to know the raw, because that's probably where the work is. And so if you want that type of help, if you really want the healing, it's going to take a lot of raw work. And that's where we come in. 2 years is a long time. 3 months, you would have figured it out. And then the rest of the time, you get a lot of chance, a lot of time to just heal, to work on all the things you want to work on with you and your family. And so give us a call. My name is Auvronette. My number is 770-655-8465. I'm not afraid to do the work with you. I'm not afraid to walk alongside you. I'm strong enough I do come from a very Christian perspective, but not in a way of judgment. I believe everybody has the same palette to work from.
That was a barrel of great information. You spoke to our viewers and gave them really, you poured your heart out about how you provide the service, how you provide the care, and how you don't you allow people to come into a no judgment zone. And I really appreciate hearing that, because I think for those who either need the service themselves or they know someone or think they know someone that need the service, I think you really broke down the approach. You want to talk to the individual that's in need, and you want to hear from her yourself. I want to go back again and talk about the origin of Phoenix Pass.
Okay.
How did this come about? Give me the who, what, when, where, and how of Phoenix Pass.
Yes. Okay. Very good. There are a bunch of do-gooders. You're talking about First Baptist of Conyers. You're talking about Rockdale Emergency Relief, the Beach Foundation. They saw a need and filled it. And thus there's the Phoenix Pass, the idea that Phoenix rises from its own ashes.
Yes.
And it does just that. And so that's what the women do every day. They just come in. Something very special is about to happen at Phoenix Pass also, I want to mention. About 8 years ago, we had this vision to open up a store, a secondhand store, another stream of income. And we just kept trying to figure out how we were going to do it. You know, we're connected with Restoration Storehouse.
That's correct.
And we're still going to be connected with them. But we're going to eventually open up a store on the Phoenix Pass property. And it's going to be Beauty for Ashes. Beauty for Ashes. And so the concept behind that, of course, is the fact that just, the things that you go through in life, you're just exchanging it. And it's just
that's wonderful. That's going to create open up several doors of opportunity. I wanted people to hear really the origin of Phoenix Pass. We have so many wonderful nonprofit organizations here in, I tell people all the time, Rockdale County, the city of Conyers, we are a caring community.
Yes.
And we're not just saying that, we're actually doing it. And then a lot of times there's multiple people like yourself and many others who are really behind the scenes. Folks are not looking for any praise or credit. They're just blessing people, getting the work done. I appreciate you being forthright and telling us, listen, I'm coming from a Christian perspective here. I'm coming from a Christian background in terms of my approach to resolving problems and issues, and you're letting folks know that up front. When you think about the days ahead for Phoenix Pass, and again, those folks out there who may need you, I want you to tell me how many women and families can you hold based upon the current makeup of your facility? Tell me about that first.
Very good. And though I am, the women don't have to be. So Christian,
Right.
They do not have to be.
Right, you're just talking about yourself.
Yes, and it doesn't matter to me. But we have 16 units.
Okay.
One is currently and will always be occupied by a sheriff's deputy.
Okay.
So we serve 15 women. We can serve up to 36 children at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have all of our apartments are 2 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Okay.
We do have 2 apartments that's dedicated to larger families, and they have 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
And 1 bath.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, to give the logistics and to make up the floor plan pretty much of your units.
And they're nice.
And I also like hearing that you have a sheriff's deputy, law enforcement on site that's in one of your units. So you have basically almost a 24-hour a day security presence there on the property. That makes a difference.
Too. I have another wonderful surprise.
Tell me.
In 2025, we're going to move a few of our apartments into a step-up program, and we're moving into affordable housing for those women.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the women who've successfully graduated the program will be able to move up into step-up part of it, where they're paying $800 a month as opposed to $1,600 a month for the apartment.
Wow.
So we're just testing the waters of it right now.
Another blessing.
Yeah.
You can't beat that with a stick, $800 a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
they will have their savings.
Right.
They will avoid paying that 3 times the month rent.
Wow.
To go in. Their credit would already be repaired, because that's another thing we really focus on pretty highly, is repairing credit the first 3 months they get into the program. We're getting rid of their barriers to housing, which is utilities and evictions. And so
there's that word again, transitional.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're getting people ready for change, positive change. You're teaching them responsibility, accountability, and ownership in terms of how to own your own space and your own world. You talked about not being an enabler. You talked about the fact that you are a recovering enabler. You gave people, again, hope and encouragement and empowerment to know that if you stick to the plan, have a level of discipline, you can rise from your ashes, Phoenix Pass, and walk into your own. That is a message that I believe we have to continue to put out there in our community for so many different people. Give me that number again, and give it to me slow. Somebody's going to write it down again, and we're going to make sure we have it going across the screen there. So give me that number, they can reach you.
All right. It's 770-655-8465. 770-655-8465.
Is there a website where someone can go onto the website, pick up a lot of what you just shared today in this segment, but even learn more about the program? What is that website? It
is www.phoenixpass.org. That's www.phoenixpass.org. And if you ever want a tour, just give me a call.
All right, very good. As we prepare to wrap up, what would you like to leave the viewers with regarding Phoenix Pass and this program? And then the other part of what I want to ask you is, again, what do you want to say to that person who is having challenges right now? What would you like to leave them with as well?
Okay. The most important part about our program is just call. Just make the call. Because if we can't help you, we'll find somebody else who can. We always leave people with other resources. And wherever you are in life, we just want you alive. We want you here. So just make a phone call. Don't let your mind tell you anything that's not true. We much rather you be here. No matter identity crisis, whatever you're going through, we just prefer you be here. So give us a call.
Folks, there you have it. Ms. Auvronette Guilbeaux from Phoenix Pass here in Rockdale County, in the heart of Old Town Conyers. We are doing wonderful things in our community, servicing the needs of so many people in Rockdale County. A focus today on women and children and rising from their own ashes. I love that, Phoenix Pass. This is Chairman Oz Nesbit, and you've been watching another segment, another edition of Chop It Up with the Chairman on Rockdale Channel 23.
Thank you for watching Rockdale 23. Follow us on social media at Rockdale Gov or YouTube at Rockdale 23.